Hey guys, Kevin Yates here. So today I want to share how I lost over 30 pounds and got in my best shape at 53 years old without living in the gym and without starving myself. So if you are a busy dad over 40 who wants to lose 20 to 30 pounds and finally feel confident in your own skin and have the level of success in your health and fitness that you have in other areas of your life, then I'm going to be breaking down the exact 5 steps that I used to lose over 30 pounds, to build more muscle, to boost my energy and get leaner than I've been in decades, literally. And doing that while still working, while still taking care of a family and all the responsibilities that go with that, and without having to give up weekend dinners out with my family, dates with my fiance, and foods that I love in order to do it. So, about 4 years ago, I gave up drinking after a 30-year battle with alcohol addiction. And I remember thinking that this was going to be the thing that changed my body and finally gave me the physique that I wanted, because, stopping drinking, it was going to somehow transform my body. And so a little over a year ago, I was still 30 pounds overweight. I was tired. I was just kind of feeling burnt out and frustrated. I was really frustrated at where I was at, because it's like all the things that I was able to do before, going for a bike ride with our kids, going for a walk with my fiance, going up and down stairs, working out, those things were getting a lot harder for me to do. And I started to feel like I just didn't have the energy to do these things like I felt I should be able to do. And it started to really worry me. So, the one thing I had to do, like the first step in all of this, was I had to shift my mindset, because I kept thinking, like, I knew I was hitting a wall and I couldn't keep going on like this. I couldn't keep putting everybody else's needs ahead of my own, taking care of my family, giving to my job, and then putting myself last. It's like I couldn't keep giving to everyone else what I wasn't giving to myself, because if I did, I wasn't going to have anything to give anymore. And so, my mindset shift, that's kind of I always say it's the most important step before any physical transformation, because it doesn't matter how good your workout is or your diet is if you don't have the right mindset, because you won't be aligned up here in order to sustain what you're doing. As soon as time gets tough, you don't have the time, you don't have the motivation, you don't have the energy, you got family things going on, like you're gonna quit, you're gonna give up. So you've got to have your mind in the right place. And that was the first step, for me. That's right where I began, and for me, I had to stop waiting around for the right time, because I kept putting it off, thinking I'm too busy with work right now. At the time I was finishing, well, I wasn't even finishing. I was like in the beginning of my master's degree program, having family responsibilities and all the stresses of being a dad. And I kept thinking 9 months from now is when I'm going to start. That's going to be the right time for me. And I remember one day I was like sitting there and I'm listening to myself almost. And I'm thinking, what's going to be different 9 months from now? Like, what's really going to be different? Okay, so I'm going to graduate and have a master's degree, but I'm still going to have all the family responsibilities I have now. There's still going to be work. Everything's still going to be there. It's not going to be a whole lot different. So, I had to stop waiting around for the right time, and I had to start making the time right. And I remember in that moment, I thought, this is it. I'm doing it now. Because there was no reason I couldn't start now. So, I decided I was going to do that. And then the second thing within getting my mind right was that I had to build a program that was going to work for me. I couldn't have any excuses that would make me give up. This won't fit my lifestyle. I don't have time to go work out. I don't have the energy. I've got this thing and that thing going on. Work's busy. I couldn't allow those to become excuses that made me quit. So I knew that I needed my plan to be one where I didn't have to spend hours in the gym. I didn't have to give up the foods that I loved, because I go out on the weekends, we go out and have family dinners out and, do things together. We enjoy desserts and all kinds of stuff. So I had to be able to still be a part of that or have that be a part of my lifestyle. And I needed a plan where I wasn't going to have to sacrifice work or family time in order to get in shape. So, I didn't need to wait for the right time, but I did need the right system. And so that's what I did. I started to focus on building that right system for myself. So the second step then was, part of that system was dialing in my training. I needed a smart training plan. And I remember before, my thought process was that I needed to work out for an hour and a half a day, 6 days a week, 7 days a week, spend all this time in the gym in order to get in shape. And, on top of that, I had to do these punishing workouts where I'm doing all these exercises, lifting light weights for lots of reps with very short rest periods because I'm trying to pump up my heart rate. And my thinking was that if I did that, then that was going to make me burn more calories and I'd lose more fat that way. And what I realized was that wasn't really true. And secondly, I really couldn't keep up with that kind of pace. I could do it for maybe a couple weeks or a month, but then I would end up just burning out and I couldn't maintain it anymore and I'd end up giving up. Second problem with that is that those types of workouts, what they were doing was when I would do them, I would start losing weight in the beginning, but then the longer I went on, what happened was I would start to lose muscle in the process. And the problem with losing muscle is that muscle is what burns fat. The more muscle we have on our bodies, the more fat we burn. So it doesn't make sense to do things that cause us to lose muscle, especially for busy dads over 40, because as we get older, natural aging process, we start losing muscle anyway. So we have to actually give our bodies more reasons to hold on to and to build muscle. So I had to change my training and dial it in. And I call it smart training, because what I did was I changed my training to focus on two things. And those things were building muscle and getting stronger. And that's it. So my workouts now are, I do 3 to 4 workouts a week for about 45 minutes to no more than an hour. So they're very time effective for me. They work on a busy schedule because I can still do very good and get great results on 3 45-minute workouts a week when times, my time gets very limited or I'm really busy with family stuff. And, I just focus on progressive overload, consistently challenging myself in a way that allows me to build muscle and get stronger. And, that's what I do. And in terms of cardio, I don't try to keep my heart rate in some fat burning zone. I'm not killing myself doing HIIT type interval workouts and all these things, because when I was doing those things, again, I was so exhausted after that. I didn't have any energy to do anything else in my day, which meant that I couldn't give enough energy to work. And so my work performance suffered. And at the end of the day, I didn't have energy to spend, with my kids and do things, or to have, conversations with my fiance and really be present with her, because I was exhausted. So instead of doing all that crazy cardio, what I do now is I just commit to daily walks. I just total up about 10,000 to 12,000 steps a day. And I'd say now, I'm really trying to dial in, get rid of the last 7 to 8 pounds. So I've ramped up my steps to about 12,000. Sometimes I'll get 14,000 a day. But, I don't worry about my heart rate. I just get my daily steps in and make it a non-negotiable, and that takes care of my cardio. And it's worked wonders for me. So the results of doing this, changing my training, has been that I've gotten stronger, I've built more muscle, and I've gotten leaner. Like I said, I lost over 30 pounds. I don't have any joint aches and pains. Those things went away a long time ago because I've dialed in my training and got smart with my training. The third step that I did was to simplify my nutrition. Now, we've all heard about how important nutrition is if you're trying to lose fat. There's no getting around it. You can't just out-train a bad diet, as the saying goes. But, one of the things that I used to think was that if I was going to lose fat, that I had to stop eating carbs, I had to cut a bunch of calories out, I tried all kinds of things. I tried keto type diets. I tried fasting. I tried all kinds of different supplements. And the crazy thing is that when I did things like that, again, I got away with it for a little while, maybe a week, couple weeks, maybe sometimes it might have been about a month, but I'd always get to that place where I just hit this wall. My results would stall out. And it seemed like no matter how much harder I pushed myself, no matter how much harder I worked out, no matter how much more I cut my carbs or my fats or my calories down, it's like I was doing all this work and I just was getting a fraction of the results. I really wasn't making a whole lot of progress. And I kept getting stuck at the same kind of point every time. And then what would happen is I'd get stuck, I'd be like tired and exhausted, and I couldn't stick with this anymore because I was like hungry all the time. And so I would stop doing it. I'd go back to the way, my old nutrition plan was, and I'd start putting the weight back on and end up right back where I was before. Or sometimes I'd gain a little bit of extra weight and be in a worse position than I was before. So instead of doing all these kind of diet strategies, what I realized was that the most important thing I didn't have to go low carb. And for me, low carb really doesn't work long term because my energy suffers. And when I don't have good energy, then my workouts suck. They go in the tank, which means I can't train at a level that I need in order to build muscle and get stronger like I want, which means I'm not going to burn fat like I want to burn because I'm not going to have the muscle on my body I need. I'm also not going to have the energy to devote to like doing things with my kids or going out with my fiance. I was tired all the time and couldn't do that. So instead of that, what I realized was the most important thing that we need in order to lose fat is a calorie deficit. So if I am burning more calories than I am consuming on a daily basis, on average, I'm going to lose weight. I will drop the body fat. And the second thing is I wanted to be able to get my body to process all nutrients because all nutrients are important. We need protein, we need fat, and we need carbohydrates. We need them all. They're all important. So it didn't make sense to be trying to cut out carbs or cut fats out or fast or go keto or avoid, these foods or whatever. So what I did instead was I changed my nutrition around to focus on two things, just like my training. And the two things are hitting a protein target every day. So I hit my protein target and I make sure that I'm in a calorie deficit. Those are the two main things. I don't worry about how many carbs I eat or how much fat I get in. If I've got the protein and the calorie deficit dialed in, again, I lose fat, the weight drops, my energy's good, I'm building muscle, things are good, everything's cool. And then, the only other thing that I can say that I pay attention to is prioritizing gut health. I had gut health issues that were going on for a lot of years. And even though a calorie deficit's like kind of the most important thing that you have to have in order to lose fat, you also have to pay attention to your gut health, because if your gut health is off, it can affect how your body processes, metabolizes, and uses calories. So it's kind of like looking at two sides of the same coin almost. We need a calorie deficit, but we also need to optimize gut health in order to get the results that we want. So once I had that stuff dialed in, it was like, boom, that's when changes started to happen. The weight was coming off. I was getting leaner. I was feeling better. It's like I'm seeing like veins and stuff start to come out. I'm seeing more muscle definition that I hadn't seen in so many years. And it really is kind of crazy how it all works. So a lot of what I'm talking about so far with like the training and nutrition, it was almost like this real kind of, this mind fuck in a way, because I've come to realize that more is not always better. Sometimes less is actually more. And I hope that makes sense. But so the fourth step, I've talked about mindset. I've talked about smart training, talked about dialing in nutrition or simplifying nutrition. So then the fourth step is time management, and it's like time is one of those things that, as a busy dad, I do not have a lot of it. I have a lot of demands of my time. So I have very little time to spend, and I don't have time to waste. I do not have time to spend 2 hours in the gym working out. I don't have 3 hours every Sunday night to spend in the kitchen prepping meals. I do not want to have to sacrifice time with my family or work in order to get fit and get in shape. I don't have that, that is not available to me. I've just got too many things going on. So I'm also, not 25 years old anymore where I've got all the time in the world on my hands. I'm 53 years old and I've got, real life responsibilities. So I needed to build a plan that was based around my life, not trying to force my life to fit into a plan because it doesn't work. I've tried to do that before, and no matter how many times I tried it or how many different ways I tried it, when I'm having to force my lifestyle to fit into a fitness plan, it does not work long term. So, that's what I had to do. And I think this is something that happens with most dads is they have the best of intentions, but they don't have a system in place that helps them stick to their fitness plan when life gets busy, when they have very little time, when they're not motivated, or when they're stressed out and shit's hitting the fan. That's where it's so valuable to just have a system that helps you navigate through those times so that you don't end up giving up on your fitness program every time the challenges of life get in the way, because that stuff comes up. It comes up all the time and it's never going to stop. The perfect time does not exist. So what I did was, I instead of those long, hour and a half, 2 hour gym sessions, I implemented short, effective workouts. So, if I'm really in a pinch, like most days, it's like 40 minutes, 45 minutes to an hour, I'd say. That's my typical workout time. If I'm really in a pinch, I can get by with, 20 to 30 minutes. Like I can make it work so that I don't have to give up and blow off my workout on days where time is even more limited than normal. I have go-to meals in place. So again, I might be in a pinch. I might need, something real quick to eat, and I don't have time to go prepare food if I'm at work or if I'm on the go. I need something like that I can grab and go and take with me. And I have that. Most of my meals, they take very little time to prepare. I can prepare meals like in 5 to 10 minutes, not even that. Sometimes it's less than that. I can prepare dinners super quick. So, I don't have to spend 3 hours on Sunday night, or just hours during the week in kitchen prepping meals in order to stick with my nutrition plan. And I also have strategies in place that help me get in the right mindset when I don't feel motivated to work out, or I don't want to stick with my nutrition plan, or I'm just like completely stressed out and frustrated. Like those things are not the things that derail me. Now, nothing's perfect. I still have my time where I go through, eating shit that I'm not supposed to eat, or I might miss a workout, it happens. But I'll say that because I have a system in place, it doesn't happen anywhere near as often as it used to. And it happens a lot less than it used to is what I'm saying. So I'm probably repeating myself, but that's the importance and the value of having a system. It's, nothing's going to be perfect. We're going to still mess up from time to time, but those mess ups become a lot less frequent, and they happen through I would say longer spans of time go by before those happen. They don't keep happening over and over again. So that's been one of the biggest values, is value the word? Valuable assets maybe, that having a system in place has done for me to help me navigate my whole journey here, and to help me, keep progressing during times where life is not perfect, because it really never is. So, I made my health a non-negotiable. That's the other thing. And I made it a non-negotiable to the point where I stopped telling myself that I will fit it in when I have the time. I kept saying that to myself all the time. So I would schedule my work days. I would schedule vacations. I'd schedule fucking vacations with my family, but I wouldn't schedule time for my own health and fitness to take care of that. So I had to stop trying to squeeze that in whenever I could find the time to do so, because I never would find the time to do it. All right, and so finally, the final step, I think we're at step 5 here. And actually, it's just more of like the result. Because when you do all the other steps, you shift your mindset, you dial in smart training, you simplify your nutrition, and you have like strategies so that you can manage your time and your energy effectively. It's like then you put those in place. You have a plan that you put those in place. And when you do, then the results start coming out. So what changed for me was I lost, like I said, over 30 pounds. But the big thing I got back was my confidence. You know, I know like this summer's here now. This is the first summer in so many years, probably in the last 15 years, that if I'm being honest, I am not dreading taking my shirt off. Like going to the beach or going to the water slides with my fiance and our kids and being so fucking embarrassed about taking my shirt off that I would do anything in my power not to go. This is the first time that I'm actually looking forward to that stuff. I went on a weekend getaway with my fiance. We went and one day we were out at a jacuzzi and I just took my shirt off right away. Like I didn't even give it a second thought. And I didn't think about it till after we got back home. And I started thinking, holy shit, I took my shirt off without any problem. I wasn't self-conscious or anything. I felt great because I was confident in my own skin. I've built a body that I feel confident in again. Like I said, I haven't felt this confident in probably the last 15 years. So I've also got more energy, which means that I've got more energy to give to my kids, to my fiance, even to work and just life in general. You know, I'm showing up better in every area. It's like every area of my life is getting better because I am fit, because I am healthier, because I am in better shape. Like it improves everything. And it's not just having abs, you know, like I'm not dialed in with 6-pack abs yet. I'm seeing things happen, but I got a long way to go. But I can say like everything is really improved and gotten better as a result of getting in my best shape that I've been in decades. You know, and like I said, I did it without sacrificing time with my family. I did it without having to sacrifice work time. I did it without giving up the foods I love. Like I still am able to go on weekend dinner nights with the family, dates with my fiance. Like I enjoy the foods I love. I have dessert every night. Like I do. I build that into my plan. And yeah, I still lose weight. I'm still getting leaner and building muscle and all that by having dessert every night. Like there's a way to do it. You can build that into your plan. It's not a one size fits all. So, you know, the point being, you don't have to starve yourself. You don't need to train like a madman to get the results you want. And you don't need to wait for the right time. You just need the right system that's built for your life, not for somebody else's life, not for somebody who's 25 years old and doesn't have any responsibilities like a family and like a job, and doesn't deal with the stresses of everyday life. Maybe you're running a business, you know, and also, you know, what goes on being a dad, taking care of your kids and your family. Like that shit is real deal, you know, and you just need a plan that works for you. So if you're a dad, you know, over 40 who wants to lose fat, who wants to build muscle, regain your confidence, and, you know, build a body that you feel proud in and proud of, then and do that without giving up your free time, without sacrificing work, family, spending every day in the gym to do it, you know, and having to give up your favorite foods. I have a free group where I teach you how to do that. And it's, like I said, it's for free. And if that's something that you are interested in, then just comment the word Fit Dad down below and I'll send you the link to get you in. Now, I will say this up front with this group. It's very small. I've got a handful of guys in there right now. And the reason why is I am not looking to just pump this group up with thousands of guys in there who really aren't committed to this or who are kind of just, you know, half in, half out, not really serious about it, who might like to do it and think that one day they'd like to get in shape. I don't want that. So I'm being very selective about who I allow in this group, and I'm building it very slow on purpose. So like I said, if you are a dad over 40, you want to lose 20 to 30 pounds, you are committed and serious about doing that, and you really want to lead your family by example, and one of those examples being an example of what your health and fitness, what a healthy, strong man should look like and feel like and be able to do, comment the words Fit Dad down below, and I'll send you the link and get you in. And in the meantime, be sure to check out this video, and you stay strong. And that's all I've got for today. And I'll talk to you next time.